Alright, so I want to open this video with a small little story just to give a context on why this video is the way it is and what is the meaning behind it. So back in December, I remember seeing the whole preview for a game called Fast Racing Neo. I was pretty excited, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be awesome. And then I got Fast Racing Neo, and I played it, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then as time got further into it, I started to realize just how racing games are, and how essentially they're all the same. Now, racing games are an important thing in gaming, and they're very necessary because without them, as a genre, it's gonna kind of feel empty, and, you know, we don't want that. We want to like racing games. But they're flawed in mostly their design. So what I'm gonna do real quick is I'm gonna just go over all the ones that I know, because it's only fair if I talk about what I know rather than things I haven't played. And then I'm going to break down how each of these games and franchises makes its way about fucking you over, and how that's the point of racing games, and then it'll all make sense in closing. So the trendiest thing with racing games is the fact that they're all built around rubber band AI. What that means is that if you're doing well, the AI will be harder, and if you're losing, the AI will be easier. Now, the way it works with racing games is for each difficulty, easy, medium, and hard, the rubber banding is going to be stronger and stronger. So for easy mode, it might just be nice and you can make first on some things. But on hard, you might end up with fifth, and it'll still be as strong as fuck AI. Now, the problem with that is the idea that there's no necessary challenge in these games, because it all just comes down to the luck of the programming and some of the gimmicks that these games introduce, which will start off with Fast Racing Neo, because that was what came to be about this. Fast Racing Neo is really pretty and awesome and F-Zero-ish, and it's got two gimmicks. Firstly, the phase. So you can change your car orange or blue. What that means is you can essentially just use those boosters and go faster. There's also little pellets that your car will pick up that you can use to boost. There's also the idea that when you crash, you'll just spin out, you'll respawn, it'll give you a little boost to try and get you back up on your feet, and that's nice. That's very considerate. But a lot of the time it still ends up being really problematic, especially when they put things like random hazards that you're not going to see because it's a game about fast in the middle of the road, so you're just going to crash and make the same mistake over and over again. Next to that is the idea that if you are, let's say, in third place and you're behind two people, the two people in front of you are going to pick up the boost pellets and then drive off away without you while you don't get a boost. Meaning, it favors the people in the front while the people in the back gets nothing. So the problem with this is that there is no real way to help yourself, because they can do all that you can do, plus more, because they're in front of you. That is the big problem with Fast Racing Neo. Then there's the idea that, it's rubber band AI. So yeah, not only is it getting its little boosty buffs, but it's also going to try and work harder so that when you are winning for a change, it's going to take it away from you, and a guy's going to pass you for seemingly no reason, because that's the way the game was developed. Next on the list, which is really similar to as a game, would be the F-Zero series, which people are going to be more familiar with. It works similar to Neo, but it's a lot harder. So for starters, anything outside of the SNES version, there's 30 racers. You have a health bar. You have a single life. And then you have the ability to fall off the stage with a lot of those too. There's also the idea that your boost and your health are the same, meaning you can literally boost yourself to death. You can get health refills on the little things that choose to refill your health for no fucking reason. But we are stacking all these things against you with the ridiculously hard F-Zero rubber banding. So you have 30 people that are all bouncing around, and you're taking damage because there's just a large fucking number of them. And then there's the idea that when you try to fix yourself and get out of your problem, you're killing yourself. And you're not going to have much boost because you've already been ping-ponged around by 29 other racers. Now this one can be applicable to a few games, but the Rush series doesn't have any gimmicks. It's just a racing game about going fast, and you're only at the mercy of the rubber band AI. That's it. You can die, your opponents can die, there's no oncoming traffic for them to crash into, and you can try and cut corners and find shortcuts. That's about it. Now, one thing that does make this a little bit different is just the fact that it was an old arcade-like game. So, the only way you could get an interesting and different way would be to turn on cheats. So in the case of Rush 2, you could counteract the bullshit of literally not having anything to be able to help you to turning on suicide mode and invincibility and resurrect in place. So this way, all the racers would die with just a single touch while you're invincible, and then if you ever did die by flipping yourself over, you just pop right back up where you were instead of having to do with some weird loading time or whatever the hell. Now this could be used as an example for other racing games because I don't remember because I haven't played it in like 20 years, but as a kid there was a game called like F1 Pole Position for the N64. I don't remember much about it because I was a kid and it was a crap game that I didn't have anything to understand, but I'm using this as an example because like Rush, there wasn't anything you could do and you were literally at the mercy of the rubber band AI. There was no sort of favor. Other games or other racing games are like this too. Continuing on from there, another midway game which also kind of follows the last sentence would be the Cruis'n series. Cruis'n USA was a game where you literally had nothing you could do to help favor you. But at least in Cruis'n USA there was oncoming traffic and the AI was frequently dumb, so they'd drive into the traffic and you at least got a small bit of satisfaction watching them hit a fucking bus or something like that. Cruis'n World and Exotica, and even the one on the Wii though, gave you at least an ability that none of the AI uses. I believe the Wii one had it. And that's the ability to double tap and you will do a wheelie that would make you go faster. No AI does this. This was your little silver card advantage to at least get a small upper handing against the rubber band AI. So that at least had a little bit of favorability in your corner. The thing is, with Cruis'n Wii, you kind of have to like lose 1,000 races before you can get the abilities you want and then have a fighting chance to play the game. While Cruis'n Exotica has a continue system that you might as well just play with a friend and unlock shit that way instead of by yourself, because you're not going to do good at all. Next, we would have the Wave Race games, which would, still have rubber band and the ability to handicap you in certain things, like the whole point of the Wave Race that was different was the idea that you had to zigzag like a fucking oaf around the course and play it the way they wanted you to play it. There was also little mines on the harder difficulties, and then there was the idea that you could fall off of your wavecraft. These were things the AI was immune to, and they wouldn't hit the walls, they wouldn't hit the fucking mines, they wouldn't ever miss, they would never lose their max power. It was all on you and the mercy of the rubber band. Another one would be the 1080 games, which their little gimmick was kind of similar to F-Zero, where you just had a health bar. The difference was the AI never died, only you died. And their increase in difficulty not only included, harder rubber banding, but also would include more levels, kind of like how Wave Race would, which I didn't mention. But yeah, you instead of like easy would be like, 4 races, medium would be 5, and then 6. And that's about it. And for, of course, the most popular one of all would be the Mario Kart series, which I've also noticed this with Mario Kart 8, and that's just the idea that, yet again, Mario Kart is hardcore rubber band the game. The difference was this one gives you the most fighting chance and the ability that you have items you can use against your opponents. However, we're also depending on the idea that these items are based on a luck roulette. Yes, there's some things that are programmed into later places, like, hey, you can get a star if you're in this place, or a shell in this place, so it works to a degree, but it's still a combination of luck, rubber band, and skill. And for our last example is going to be Diddy Kong Racing. Just because this one also kind of ties in with Mario Kart 8, in the idea that not only is it, you know, your typical kart racer, which all of them are going to play the same, be it fucking Shrek Racing, Crash Racing, Mario Kart, it's all the goddamn same. They're all kart racers, they all do the same thing. The difference is, at least with Diddy Kong and Mario Kart 8, it gives you the little thing of pick up this item, kart goes faster. And the difference is Diddy Kong is less forgiving, and that once those items that make your car go faster are gone, they're gone. There's the silver coin challenges, which come after beating the boss, which is rubber banded as hell, too, which are a lot more skill driven, and I would have to say of all the racing games I've listed, that was great, Diddy Kong and F-Zero are probably the two that require the most skill, but Diddy Kong in a very different fashion of F-Zero, because Diddy Kong's a hard game. At least with Mario Kart 8, when you lose your coins, you know, you can pick them back up, they respawn, bananas don't. But that's the thing that we're noticing here, is it's Mario Kart with a little bit of a harder challenge to it. Now that I've explained just about how every game that I've played and or series has worked, I want you to understand like where I'm coming from. We're dealing with hardcore rubber banding for every single game, and then the unnecessary gimmicks that handicap you in every single game. So as you're trying to play through and enjoy and complete these games, you're just at the mercy of the luck of the programming that is built into it, which to me kills a lot of the sense and accomplishment in doing it, because it doesn't ever feel like it's a fair challenge. I still haven't even beaten Mario Kart DS because I keep getting unlucky items and unlucky rubber banding. That's the problem that's bugging me about racing games. It's the overall way that they're built isn't cutting it anymore. And I know that's just me, but we need to find a more reliable and less fluctuating way to design a racing game so that it works. Mario Kart and Diddy Kong are, in my opinion, probably the most fair, because at least they give you a chance to fight back, and it's better than Fast Racing Neo, which is like, hey, your chance to fight back is going to favor the people in front of you, while the people behind are going to end up being more and more behind. Some of these series as well are dead, like we haven't seen a Wave Race game in forever, a 1080 game in forever. Cruis'n and Rush are dead, and then I didn't talk about it because I kind of forgot how I played, but we haven't seen an Extreme G in forever. Lord knows if F-Zero is ever coming back. But the thing is, with racing games, it's problematic to enjoy because of just the way that they're designed, and I kind of felt the need to rant about it, and I would love for it to change, but I'm just a guy rambling to his computer and putting it on the internet and imagining people will give a shit, but hopefully what I'm saying makes some sort of sense, and that people can realize this and take what I'm saying and maybe use that as a considering factor, and then like the opinion can spread and we can have a racing game that could come out that could be good and enjoyable and reliable and consistent. Fast Racing Neo isn't a bad game. None of the games I've really talked about I would ever call as bad game. They're just really frustrating bullshit because you don't feel like you have a fair chance to play them and get a chance to really beat them. You're just at the mercy of the game's programming that hasn't been changed in over 20 years. As usual, you can say what you want, let me know how you feel, your opinions and all that, that's cool. I just wanted to get this off my chest because it was bugging me, and I also like having different videos and putting together these kinds of things. Even though they require a lot more work, it's still fun to have something different that's not a Let's Play every now and again. So, say your thoughts, spread your thoughts, whatever, I don't care. JC4R, bye.